Hello and welcome to Bags of Action. My name's Steve and this is a 5-minute review of Escape from LA from 1996. This is the sequel to the John Carpenter's Escape from New York film, which also starred Kurt Russell in the lead as Snake Pliskin. Once again, Snake Plissken is called in by the government to solve a problem for them, this time in LA, which has now become an island due to problems with earthquakes. And this is where they deport undesirables, all those deemed unworthy of being part of the official United States. Once again, we can see that America has become this kind of totalitarian state, because just before a person is deported, they're offered the alternative of being electrocuted to death instead. There are a lot of parallels between this film and the last one, not just the basic premise, but also the fact that this time Snake has been poisoned again, and the clock counts down towards his imminent death if he doesn't find this doomsday device, which the president's daughter has stolen because she believes she wants to change the world, and she signed up with a person who's an analogue for Che Guevara, a freedom fighter in this case who's determined to change the face of the United States for the better. But of course he's holding it to ransom and threatens to use the device on everybody. The first problem with this film is that it doesn't have the charm of the original, and it almost comes across as a satire in some ways. Escape from New York was quite gritty and dark and ruthless, whereas this one seems full of bombast and strange characters, which parallel some of those we've seen in the past, but they don't really seem to work. We have Peter Fonda as this kind of strange old Zen surfer who comes across Snake and has somehow been deported to this island, although we don't know why. You have Steve Buscemi as this guide to the stars Eddie who knows his way around the island, paralleling Cabby from the original, played by Ernest Borgnine. Stacy, Keach and Michelle Forbes play the soldiers who have to try and keep the president in line whilst also keeping the pressure on Snake to complete his mission, and although they do their best, the dialogue is quite wooden at times. Kurt Russell himself is excellent in the role as always as Snake Plissken. He doesn't really have a lot to say, but that's a trademark of the character. In Escape from New York, some of the action carried the film through, and in this film it just isn't there because it feels like a bit of a parody. You have a weird scene where Snake Plissken is surfing on this massive wave and he jumps off that into a moving car, and it just almost feels cartoony, which you never really had from the first film because there was an actual feeling of genuine threat, which I never had at any point in this film. Having rewatched Escape from New York fairly recently, I can see why it became a cult hit, and it was so successful that many years later they did do a sequel. Unfortunately, Escape from LA was a box office bomb, and I can sort of understand why. There are some interesting action moments that try to carry the film through. Kurt Russell does his best with some of the amazing technology that they've developed, which is used for a couple of plot points, which was quite good to see. Bruce Campbell does an amusing turn as the Surgeon General, and he's almost unrecognisable because of the weird makeup they've put him in, which is quite good fun, but there again, that's all I seem to be saying about this film. There are good moments of fun. There's some messages in there about Hollywood, about poking the fun at it, different aspects of beauty, fame and power, but the political message isn't very hard to see. And in the past, if there was anything in Escape from New York, that's not what the film was about, or certainly not to the degree that it is in this film. The ending when it came was quite a surprise and put a final nail in the coffin of the franchise, I think, because of the way it ended. In some ways, I'd kind of like to see a follow-on with Snake Plissken much older and Kurt Russell as his actual age now, because it would prove a very different kind of film and could be something almost paralleling Logan that they did with Hugh Jackman. I doubt we'll ever see a film like that, but it's an interesting idea and perhaps they could explore it more in the comics, which they have done in the past with other stories around Snake Plissken and his past, but not going into the future, set after Escape from LA. I previously gave Escape from New York 3 bags, and this film just doesn't hold up to that. So in this occasion, I'm going to have to give it 2 bags out of 5. Have you seen Escape from LA? Let me know in the comments below. Have you seen Escape from New York? Which do you prefer? Get in touch with us. You can email us. We're on Twitter, on Facebook group, and of course, Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.